Hey, welcome back everybody. I just want to do a quick upload of everybody abilities. This game is gonna take a while to unlock everybody, so there's no way anybody will have a full list of actually how all the heroes' abilities are played through. So until they unlock them, this game's gonna be ferociously long to unlock everybody. So let's start with Boba Fett. So his abilities are Concussive Rocket for the hunt and Rocket Barrage. So concussion rocket, Boba Fett fires a single concussion shot, these enemies caught in the blast. For the hunt, enemies around Boba Fett are revealed for a short period of time, during which Boba Fett disappears from any enemy radars and can utilize unlimited jetpack fuel. And the last is Rocket Barrage. A hail of small rockets is launched from Boba Fett's gauntlet, so it's pretty good for clearing the area and doing area affected damage. So let's go on to the next one. We have BOSSK, which I'm not familiar with this character prior to this game. So he has a Dioxis grenade, a throwing grenade which releases potent cloud of Dioxis cloud gas that will damage enemies who stand within it. Predator's instincts. Boss loads his gun with a high damage micro grenades and engages his Trandoshan instincts, gaining thermal vision and enhancing his physical strength. Proximity mines. Boss throws out 3 sticky mines that detonate on proximity trigger, dealing high damage. We have CHEWBACCA. CHEWBACCA is his 3 abilities are Shot Grenade. CHEWBACCA throws a grenade which can be broken into cluster of small missiles which electrocute enemies they hit. Furious Bowcaster. CHEWBACCA roars and overcharges his bowcaster, enabling him to fire fully charged shots with no charge time. Okay, that's good. Pretty good for dealing damage without delay. Charge Slam. CHEWBACCA charges forward and slams his fist into the ground. When re-triggered, deals high damage and knocks enemies off their feet. This ability can be activated from the air. Nice. Okay, that's a nice one. Darth Vader. Should be fairly know what his abilities are, but lightsaber throw. He throws his lightsaber at people, which is a pretty common one. Everybody who played the first Battlefront knows his repertoire. Focus Rage. Darth Vader channels the dark side of force and focuses his rage. His melee strikes drain no stamina and deal bonus damage. Okay, we have Choke, of course, his most famous force move. He chokes a cluster of enemies ahead of him, dragging them off the ground and through the air to drop them into danger. Interesting. Then we have Senator Palpatine, or Emperor Palpatine himself, Darth Sidious. Chain Lightning, which everybody knows that one, unleashes a burst of lightning which hits a target and spreads to those around them. This ability is extremely dangerous. Dark Aura. Emperor Palpatine changes the air around him with a forcing any damage in those around him and slowing their movement speed. Okay, this ability in a crowd fight is absolutely devastating. It completely warps the area and it's just insane. Electrocute. Emperor Palpatine electrocutes enemies in front of him, immobilizing them, which, again, Emperor Palpatine is one of those characters that if you're not careful, man, he can mow you down pretty fast. Han Solo, he has Detonite Charge. Han Solo throws a sticky charge which can be detonated at will. Sharpshooter, Han Solo can fire at DL-44 rapidly for for the next few seconds. Soldier Charge, which again from the first one. Han Solo charges forward, knocking over and damaging for the first enemy he hits. And then we have new to the series, IDEN VERSIO. She's also the main character in the storyline. So with her, she has a stun droid, which is a little black. She has a little black droid with her that she accompanies her follows her around when she's fighting. But it can also stun enemies, and the stun can be chained to nearby enemies. Pulse Cannon. Now this is actually a secondary weapon that has a much longer range and deals a lot of damage. So it's not an ability per se, it's just the ability to switch to a more powerful, longer range weapon that when charged does a crap ton of damage. But it's kind of hard to hit in maps that doesn't have a lot of open area. In maps that has a lot of not a lot of open area, this ability is not as useful unless you're good at sniping. But in essence, the incredibly powerful long-range rifle utilizing a frame assembly of a DLT-20A. The shots are charged for maximum damage. And then she has Droid Shield. IDEN droid creates a shield around her, protecting her from incoming blaster damage. We have KYLOREN, the one and only. So he has KYLOREN. He has the force pull that uses the pull that enemy towards him. Pretty obvious. Frenzy, KYLOREN enters a frenzy rage and leaps from enemy to enemy, striking them within with his lightsaber. This is an extremely good ability for when you're surrounded by a lot of enemies and you have enough life to pull it off. And it's also good in team fights to just dish out a crap ton of damage to pretty much anybody you are close enough to get the first swing off of. Freeze, just like in the movie, he freezes somebody in front of him. However, once you attack them or once they take damage, they unfreeze. So it doesn't, it doesn't last indefinitely. So you have to kind of capitalize on them pretty quick while they're frozen, or it's good for setting up tag team. Especially with a pull, you pull them towards you, then freeze them, and then just hit them with a frenzy, which is a nice little combo. All right, let's go to Darth Maul. This is the guy I've been trying to play with the most, but since a lot of people automatically start with Darth Maul, he's hard to get, but he's also so popular. But first off, his Furious Throw. He throws his lightsaber, both of them towards the enemy, damaging all enemies it touches. It is a double lightsaber after all, so pretty much it's going to be pretty insane. Chokehold. Darth Maul uses the Force to choke his enemies before throwing them to the ground. Spin attack. Darth Maul leaps forward, executing a high velocity lightsaber spin attack. Kind of like Senator Palpatine or Darth Sidious, aka Darth Sidious, when he leaps forward, except he does this while whirling two lightsabers that are joined together. Luke Skywalker. Everybody knows him from the first one, but anyway, he has Force Push, which is pretty good forward. He pushes people forward, knocking them over ledges or into danger. Repulse. Luke sends a burst of Force energy out from the ground, dealing damage to any enemies nearby, which is pretty good for clearing area if you're surrounded. So it's also a good initiation to set up a team dive, so that's good to know. Rush. Luke uses the Force to enhance his speed and quickly moves in any direction. Leia Morgana, and RIP to late Carrie Fisher, but her three abilities are Flash Grenade. She throws the Flash Grenade, which detonates impact, blinding and confusing enemies in the blast area. Rapid Fire. Leia Organa swaps her blasters for enhanced E11 assault rifle, which allows her to blast enemies with a stream of aggressive lasers. So I guess this Rapid Fire. Okay, so interesting. I wonder how that locks. And then you have Squad Shield, which she puts or deploys a shield at a location. The shield protects her and those inside from blaster fire. Lando, one of the newer non-Jedi characters. He has a smoke grenade. He can throw a smoke grenade to the ground, which obscures enemy views, but not of his sniper's thermal scope. So when you press L2 or, I guess on whichever control it is, the second left trigger, he actually has automatic night vision whenever he aims. So his night vision combined with the smoke grenade is a good combo. So in case you're wondering how would you use that, they don't exactly explain that he has night vision, but they did point it out that night sniper's thermal scope does work still with a smoke. And it also makes him zooming for better accuracy from farther shots. Sharpshooter. Lando CALRISSIAN focuses on up to 5 enemies before delivering a flurry of enemy shots against each enemy. So the thing with this ability is that there's a charge time and you have to trigger it twice. So you press it once to enter this state or this mode. It's kind of like McCree High Noon. But once you have enough enemies locked on, if you press it again, you automatically start shooting. However, if they are out of line of sight, you won't do anything. It'll just, like, I guess, go to cooldown because you can't actually shoot something you can't see. So be careful that you're using that in an area where you can pull it off quick and you don't lose sight of them. The last is Disabler, which this one is a tricky one to use. I've been playing with this one a lot, but in essence, you throw a little Disabler on the ground that actually it works in conjunction with your mini-map, and it exposes or reveals all enemies within a certain radius. However, at the epicenter of that Disabler, if the enemies get too close and you press your right, well, for me I'm on PlayStation 4, but if you press the R1 button again, it triggers and stuns them. So that's good to know because a lot of times you don't really have much escape or much stun with this character, so you kind of have to stay close to your little Disabler and use it as a escape tool in case one of the Jedis, or I'm sorry, instead of one of the Sith Lords jump on top of you, can stun them and then maybe try to run away. But you won't be able to outrun them for long because they are faster than you, so just keep that in mind. So, you know, if you're gonna stun him, it's best to try to get them down or defeat them as quick as possible. Otherwise, or get help. Otherwise, they're gonna catch up to you and kill you. But in essence, Lando deploys a sticky device which reveals nearby enemies and disrupts their radars. He can overcharge this disabler at any time there's shot enemies around him. And if you could combo your disabler and get all the enemy team, that is a devastating combo. Well, not last, but we have two more. So we have Rey, new to the game, but everybody knows her from the movie, of course. Her abilities: dash strike. She charges forward with her lightsaber, dealing damage to enemies on the way. Rey senses her surrounding, revealing all nearby enemies to her. Her stamina. Sorry, I'm on insight. So dash strike is the first one, and then insight is her, you know, the L1 R1, the double buttons. So Rey senses her surrounding, revealing all nearby enemy to her. Her stamina and damage are increased while this ability is active. So keep that in mind. You know, this is good to use to identify enemies, and then also use your dash charge to kind of go in and do damage. Mind Trick is really good for CC or, you know, disabler for the enemy, because it actually disables them for about a good 4 or 5 seconds. I don't know if it works if they have the block button up, but I have seen it work most time. I just haven't had a chance to really test it out to see if it will work while they're blocking. So, but Rey causes nearby enemy to be dazed and confused for a brief duration. And then, of course, Yoda. Try not. Do, or however he says it. But anyway, Yoda, he has first ability is Unleash. He unleashed the force in a cone in front of Yoda, damaging and pushing enemies back. When Yoda blocks damage using his block ability, the range and damage of Unleash increases for a short time. Interesting. His two buttons, or L1 R1, is Presence. Yoda instantly heals himself and allies around him, so he's also a healer. Interesting. Dash attack. Yoda leaps forward, dealing damage to enemies he hits. On the way, he can perform move 3 times in quick succession. So that's how he leaps crazy and crazy. Alright, so those are just like covering all the abilities of all the heroes that you get at launch. There will be more heroes. I will be going into more in-depth over the next couple days with each hero as I unlock them. First up, of course, are all the heroes I have right now. I've played with everyone here except Han Solo, Yoda, Boba Fett, and Boss. So you'll see videos for them a little bit later, but you'll see videos of Darth Maul, KYLOREN, and Lando first, and then probably Rey and IDEN next. I am practicing a little bit more with IDEN so I can get better footage, so you'll see those shortly. But if you like the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate all your support, and I'll see you guys, well, as Star Wars say, may the Force be with you.
Predicted.